What if the life you're living isn't really yours at all? Like you're trapped in a story you didn't write, playing a role you never auditioned for. Maybe you wake up every morning with a sense of unease, a quiet, persistent ache that something is missing, that you're meant for more, but you can't quite name what it is. Let me ask you something you've probably never said out loud. How much of your life is truly yours? How many of your choices are really your own? Or are you like so many, just following a script handed to you by your parents, your culture, your fears? If you're honest, you know the answer. You know there's a part of you that's been asleep for years, maybe your whole life. And you're not alone. Today, I want to show you why most people never wake up. Why we stay stuck repeating the same patterns, making the same mistakes, living the same day over and over until it's too late to change. I want to show you the hidden laws of human nature, ones that keep you trapped and the ones that can set you free. But I have to warn you, once you see these truths, you can never unsee them. You'll never be able to go back to sleep. Are you ready? Let's start with a story. A story older than civilization itself. Imagine a group of people chained in a dark cave since birth. They can't move their heads. All they can see are shadows flickering on the wall in front of them, cast by a fire behind their backs. To them, the shadows are reality. They give them names, they argue about their meaning, they build their entire world around these illusions. One day, one of the prisoners breaks free. He stumbles out of the cave, blinded by the sunlight. At first, he's terrified, but as his eyes adjust, sees the world as it truly is. Vivid, alive, infinitely more complex than the shadows he once believed were real. This is Plato's allegory of the cave. And it's not just a story, it's a map of your mind. The cave is your comfort zone. The shadows are your beliefs, your habits, your fears. The chains are the invisible rules you've accepted without question. Most people never leave the cave. They live and die believing the shadows are all there is. But here's the twist. The cave isn't just a metaphor. It's your life. Every time you choose comfort over growth, every time you silence your doubts, every time you follow the crowd instead of your own conscience, you're choosing the cave. You're choosing the shadows. We like to think we're free, that we make our own choices, chart our own course, shape our own destiny. But the truth is far more unsettling. Psychologists like Daniel Kahneman and neuroscientists like Benjamin Libet have shown that most of our decisions are made unconsciously, milliseconds before we're even aware of them. Our conscious mind is like a press secretary, inventing justifications for choices we've already made. Nietzsche called this the will to power, the idea that our actions are driven not by reason, but by deep, often hidden desires. We rationalize, we justify, we tell ourselves stories about why we do what we do, but underneath it all, we're driven by forces we barely understand. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you'd change, start a new habit, leave a toxic relationship, pursue a dream, only to find yourself back where you started? Repeating the same old patterns. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're human. Your brain is wired for survival, not happiness. It craves certainty, routine, the familiar. Even if the familiar is killing you, there's a reason you feel anxious when you stand out, when you go against the grain, when you risk being different. For most of human history, being part of the group meant survival. To be cast out was a death sentence. Nietzsche called this herd morality, the tendency to adopt the values of the crowd, to avoid standing out, to trade your authenticity for acceptance. We see it everywhere. People who stay in jobs they hate because it's what's expected. People who marry the right person, buy the right house,
live the right life, never questioning whose standards they're living by. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The herd doesn't care about your happiness. It cares about conformity. The moment you start to wake up, to question the rules, to live on your own terms, you become a threat. You make people uncomfortable because you remind them of the freedom they've given up. We like to think we're rational creatures, that we make decisions based on logic, evidence, and reason, but the truth is, we're emotional animals. We're driven by unconscious biases, primitive fears, and the need to belong. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." Translation, people care more about appearances than reality. We're not rational. We're emotional. We're easily deceived, especially ourselves. Think about it. How many times have you ignored the truth because it was uncomfortable? How often have you chosen the easy lie over the hard truth? We buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like. We stay in toxic relationships because we're afraid of being alone. We sabotage our own success because deep down, we don't believe we deserve it. Let's talk about the biggest lie you've been sold. Just be nice and people will like you. But niceness is not goodness. Niceness is about avoiding discomfort. Goodness is about doing what's right, even when it's hard. Women say they want nice guys. Well, they would be, but they're drawn to men with strength and conviction. Bosses say they want team players, but they promote those who take initiative. Nice guys avoid difficult conversations. Good men have them. Nice guys seek approval. Good men earn respect. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German theologian who resisted the Nazis, wrote, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil." If you're always agreeable, always accommodating, you're not virtuous, you're complicit. You've been told that loyalty is a virtue, that you should be loyal to your friends, your company, your partner, no matter what. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Loyalty without reciprocity is just self-betrayal. Bonhoeffer wrote about cheap grace, the idea that forgiveness and loyalty mean nothing if they're not earned. He risked his life because he understood that true loyalty is a two-way street. Look around you. How many people in your life would truly go to war for you? How many would stand by you if you lost everything? Most people are loyal only when it's convenient. The moment you stop serving their interests, they disappear. So why do you keep giving your loyalty away for free? Why do you keep pouring yourself into people who only take? We live in an age obsessed with authenticity. Be yourself, they say. Show the real you. But here's the paradox. The real you is always changing. And the world doesn't reward authenticity. It rewards perception. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Your reputation is your currency. It's the story people tell about you when you're not in the room. But most people don't control their story. They let others define them. They overshare, they complain, they seek validation from people who don't matter. The most powerful people in history, Caesar, Cleopatra, Churchill, all understood the art of strategic authenticity. They revealed just enough to be relatable. Ask yourself, are you controlling your narrative, or are you letting others write it for you? You've been taught to avoid conflict, to keep the peace, to never rock the boat. But as Plato warned, that the price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. If you avoid conflict, you surrender your power to those who seek it. Life is a series of battles, some small, some existential.
Every day, someone is testing your boundaries, challenging your worth, trying to take what you've built. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. To survive, You must be both cunning and courageous. The man who is prepared for conflict rarely has to fight. People sense his strength and choose easier targets. So, are you preparing for the battles ahead? Or are you hoping they'll never come? Here's the most dangerous truth of all. You are your own worst enemy. You lie to yourself more than anyone else ever could. You tell yourself you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow never comes. Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But most people never find their why. They drift through life chasing pleasure, avoiding pain, never asking the hard questions. What do you want? What are you willing to suffer for? What are you willing to lose to become who you're meant to be? There's a new religion in the modern world: victimhood. We're told that our problems are someone else's fault, that we're oppressed, misunderstood, unlucky, that the world owes us something. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Victimhood is seductive because it absolves us of responsibility. It lets us blame others for our failures, our pain, our stagnation. But as long as you see yourself as a victim, you'll never be free. You'll never take control of your life. You'll never become the hero of your own story. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." You don't become powerful by waiting for the world to change. You become powerful by changing yourself. We all think we have time. Time to change, time to grow, time to become who we're meant to be. But time is the greatest illusion of all. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. We procrastinate, we delay, we tell ourselves we'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow is a lie. All you have is now. Every day you spend asleep, every day you spend in the cave is a day you'll never get back." If you've made it this far, you're already different. Most people would have clicked away by now. They'd rather stay comfortable than confront the truth. But you're ready to wake up. You're ready to leave the cave, to see the world as it truly is. You're ready to stop living for others and start living for yourself. But awakening comes at a cost. You'll lose friends, you'll face criticism, you'll be misunderstood. But you'll gain something far more valuable: freedom. The freedom to choose your own path. The freedom to define your destiny. The freedom to become the person you were always meant to be. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for permission. Stop seeking approval. Stop living someone else's story. Start asking the hard questions. Start setting boundaries. Start building the life you want, not the one you've been told to want. Remember, the world is not changed by those who fit in. It's changed by those who stand out. You have a choice. You can go back to sleep, back to the comfort of the cave, or you can step into the light, no matter how blinding it is. Here's the final twist. Waking up doesn't mean you'll never struggle again. It doesn't mean you'll never feel lost or afraid or alone. In fact, the more awake you become, the more you'll see the darkness in the world and in yourself. But that's the price of freedom. To see clearly is to suffer, but it's also to live. Nietzsche said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." Your pain, your confusion, your longing, they're not weaknesses. They're the raw material of transformation. In the end, most people will never wake up. They'll live and die in the cave, never knowing what they missed. But you've seen the shadows for what they are. You've glimpsed the truth behind the curtain. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you close your eyes and pretend you never saw? Or will you rise, even if you have to walk alone? Because the greatest tragedy is not to be defeated by the world. It's to be defeated by yourself. Wake up. The world is waiting.